Now in lessons 1 and 2 we looked at chords that used 2 fingers and 3 fingers. For this lesson we'll use chords that involve 4 fingers. So the first thing that we want to try is taking the pinky and put it on the first string at the 3rd fret. Then take the ring finger and put it on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret. The index finger on the 5th string at the 2nd fret. And the middle finger on the 6th string at the 3rd fret. Now in order to make this work well, you may have to move your elbow out a little bit this way. A lot of people will have trouble sort of in this position. So think of your middle finger as sort of pointing at your head and elbow out like this. And then we'll strum all of the strings. And here we have a G chord. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to keep these 2 fingers still, pinky and ring finger, and then we'll drop the middle finger down 1 and the index finger down 1. And we'll only strum strings 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we have a Cadd9 chord. Now let's try moving back and forth between these two. So we've got G major, and then we drop the middle finger down 1 and the index finger down 1, and we have Cadd9. Let's practice going back up to the G major, and then drop down to the Cadd9. And let's practice switching back and forth a few times. Okay, now, once we're comfortable with those 2 chords, we're going to do a 3rd chord, and the 3rd chord is a D sustain 4. Now for that, what we'll do is these fingers will stay put. We'll move the middle finger all the way down to the 1st string at the 2nd fret, and then the index finger on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. So actually, we've got only 3 fingers that we need to have on the guitar. We don't really have to have the middle finger on the guitar for this chord to work, but we'll use that finger in just a second. After we move the pinky away, we'll have a new chord. So for now, we're going to hit strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there's our D sustain 4 chord. Now I mentioned just a second ago that we're going to need to move the pinky away. So we're going to take the pinky away, and now we've got a new 3-finger chord, and that's D major. So for D major, we're going to hit strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now this one will be more difficult than the others. The trick about this one is to make sure that you're really, really up on your fingertips and sort of past vertical with the tip joint of your middle finger, like so, sort of leaning over this way. So again, for the D sustain 4, we've got strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we don't really have to have the middle finger in there to make the chord sound right. See, we can do it without the middle finger or with the middle finger. But we want to go ahead and have that middle finger in there so that when we take the pinky away, we'll be ready to go without having to move the middle finger into position. Alright, so now, let's try putting all of these chords together. So we had the G major, and then we dropped down a string with the middle finger and the index fingers, and we've got Cadd9, and then we keep the pinky and ring finger still. We move the middle finger all the way down to the 1st string behind the pinky on the 2nd fret. Then we move the index finger to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and we'll strum strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then we'll take the pinky away and strum strings 4, 3, 2, and 1 again. So let's go a little bit faster with this. There was the first one, G major. We drop down to Cadd9. We drop down to D sustain 4. And then we took the pinky away and we have D major. Now this will sound like a song if we put these chords together. And we can experiment with getting faster. Adding more strums. Now it'll probably take you a little while to get to where you're that fast, but don't be discouraged. This may take you 2 or 3 weeks to get to this point. So again, just practice at first strumming between the G and the Cadd9, so the G again, and then we drop down, and then back, and once you feel comfortable changing between those 2 chords, then try moving into the D sustain 4. And as I mentioned, the D chords are going to be a little bit more difficult. The biggest problem that people have with this chord is that oftentimes the back side of the ring finger bumps into the 1st string. So I'm going to make that mistake right now on purpose just so you see what it looks like, and I'm going to pick and listen. So the back side of my ring finger is bumping the 1st string, and now I'm going to move up into the correct position, and it works. So the difference between having the chord have the little thumpy sound in it and it sounding really good is very subtle in terms of your hand position. So you'll want to make sure that you're really straight up and down on the fingertips, really straight up and down with these 2, and make sure that the middle finger is past vertical with the tip joint so that it's sort of leaning over this way. And that concludes lesson number 3. Thanks for listening.